Hi there and welcome to this video. My name is Jim Knippenberg with MindControlResources.com. So what we're talking about today are some examples of psychic abilities and psychic skills in the Bible. A lot of times people would have you think that psychic abilities aren't true, and if they are, it must be the work of the devil, because you got the witches and you got all this weird stuff, these people that are in Satan worship or whatever. Look, psychic abilities are all throughout the Bible, and this is something that God has set up as a natural ability for all of us to have access to. There are 7 different places in the Bible that I'm going to cover in this video. If you like this video, go ahead and comment in the comments below that you'd like to see more, because there are hundreds of examples of psychic abilities in the Bible. Okay. The first one, I'm going to start with Jesus himself. In John 1:48, Jesus told Nathanael, Philip's brother, "I saw you standing under the fig tree earlier today." And Nathanael had asked him, "How do you know me?" And he said, Jesus replied, "I saw you standing under the fig tree earlier today." This is an example of remote viewing, distant vision. This is an ability that has been around for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It's one that's easily trainable. Everybody has at least some ability with this. Okay, does that make sense? If you've ever thought about someone and then the phone rang and it was that person, or if you've ever just known something ahead of time and it happened, that's an example. Now, do those things happen all the time? Well, they probably do, and we're just not aware of them. The ones that we become aware of, okay? And most people have had these kinds of experiences if they'll think about it, okay? Where, like, the phone will ring after you're thinking about your friend the day before, and they'll send you an email, or they'll call on the phone, or they'll send you a text message, okay? Or the phone will ring and you know who it is, or there's a letter from somebody and you know what's in the letter before they even open it. And we're talking things like it's not your birthday or whatever, so you know it's not a birthday card. Does that make sense? Another one of the funniest examples of psychic abilities in the Bible, and this gets into the animal's ability for psychic perception and being able to see entities. Animals have very good awareness of things that we've trained our awareness not to see. Does that make sense? Well, in Numbers 22, Balaam was a prophet, and one of the kings in the area was upset about the Israelites being out in the desert, and called the king in and said, or the prophet in and said, "I know that you can curse people and do things, so why don't you go curse those Israelites?" And the prophet prayed about it and said, "No, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it." And the king kept after him. "Look, I'll pay you anything you want. I'll give you half of my kingdom. I'll give you all this money." And then the prophet started to drool with greed because he wanted the money. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with money. It's that he didn't care how he got it. He just wanted it no matter what. And so he finally said, "Look, I can't curse them for you, but I'll tell you what you got to do." And the king said, "Okay, I'll pay you." Well, on his way to go do this, he was riding his donkey, and the angel of the Lord stood in the way, and Balaam the prophet couldn't see it, but the donkey saw it, and he started to beat his donkey. "You dumb donkey, keep going. What's wrong with you? You won't go down this path." And the donkey came back and talked to him. Now, was it like a cartoon where the donkey's mouth was flapping and words were coming out? Well, what I think was more likely the case, and makes a lot more sense, is that it was mind-to-mind perception. The donkey said to him, "Why are you beating me?" And then the prophet's eyes were opened by the angel, and he could see the angel standing in the way. And then he found out he had a good donkey that was saving his life. So this is another, there are 2 things here. Well, 3. The perception of other entities. 4. We'll go 4. There are 4 lessons here. One is, and we'll get to this one later, Once you know the thing that you're supposed to do, don't let anybody talk you out of it. When you have a deep knowing of what you should or shouldn't do, don't let other people bribe you, persuade you, beg you to death. Stick with what you know is right for you. It cost that man his life. Okay, now a lot of times it's not that dramatic for us, but when you know what you ought to do or you know what you shouldn't do, stick with what you absolutely know to be true. Okay? The other thing is the seeing of the entities. That's a psychic skill. The mind-to-mind communication between the donkey and the prophet. Okay, so there's been a lot of studies done on pet telepathy and on owners and their pets having telepathic communication. Also, Cleve Baxter did research on even simple animal forms having primary perception, and he did that research also with plants. Okay, and this is one of the funniest stories in the Bible of psychic abilities. The next one that we'll cover today is in Daniel chapter 2. King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and it troubled him. It was one of those dreams he woke up in a cold sweat. He was worried. He knew something bad was going to happen, and he couldn't understand the dream. So he called in all his people, and he said, look, you're going to tell me what this dream means. And they're like, okay, king, tell us what the dream is. And the king was a wise king. He knew that there were a lot of con men out there, and they were going to tell him what he wanted to hear. And he said, no, you tell me what the dream is. And they're like, nobody can tell you this. And the king said, okay, well, you got X amount of days. You either tell me what the dream was and what it meant, or I'm going to kill you and your wives and your children. And they're like, nobody can do what the king asked. Daniel heard about it, and he went and prayed, and he went and meditated, and the Lord revealed to him not only what the dream meant, but what the dream was. And he went back into the king, and he said, King, it's true that nobody can reveal this to you. No human can do this, but God revealed it to me. Okay, so this is an example of not only dream telepathy, but someone else being able to get another person's dream. Okay, and he told him the meaning of it. The next example is the wise men in Matthew chapter 2. They were warned by the Lord not to go back because Herod was going to kill Jesus. Okay, so they went back another way. They got a warning in their dream. The fifth one that we're going to cover is Isaiah's vision. Isaiah was in the temple and he saw a vision of the Lord. These visions, people, and the Bible said that in the last days, your old men would see visions and your young men would dream dreams. This is a skill that's available to people. If you want an answer to something, you can set up a project. You can go to the correct level of mind, and you can have it come up on your mental screen what you're supposed to do. Okay, does that make sense? And I'll give you a little bit of possible how-to here in this one. This one is one of the more violent ones in the Bible. In 2 Kings chapter 2, verses 23 through 25, it's where Elisha the prophet called out the bears to maul 2 kids to death, or a bunch of kids to death. Basically, Elisha was the prophet who succeeded Elijah. And he was a bald man. And the kids came out of the city and they were making fun of him. And they started making fun of him for being bald. And he got pissed off. So he called out 2 she-bears out of the woods and mauled the kids. Now, of course, it's not a nice thing. Not everything that's recorded in the Bible was nice to do. It was put there, though, okay, for us to learn from it. Now, the Bible doesn't say how he called those bears out. Did he say, bears, go get them kids, like you would tell your dog, fetch a stick? Well, maybe. But there are a couple other ways to do it. One is to pretend to be the bear, to go to a deep level of mind and have deep level identification with the bear or the group of bears, or to take on the form of a bear, your energy field, and communicate to them, get them. That's one way. Another way is to, if the bears had cubs, to project the mental thought form of threat onto those kids. Okay, so that, you know, because bears are very, very violent when anybody gets near their cubs. Another is to mental projection of food, like, you know, you see these hunters that do these stupid videos. Not all hunters are stupid. You see a lot of times hunters do these viral videos where the guy will cover himself with deer urine, you know, go out and he'll start harassing a deer, or these people in Yellowstone National Park that go out and harass the buffalo or whatever. Well, if you took a mental projection of a thought form of like salmon or salmon oil and put that over top of someone so that they now psychically look like food, that's another way you could do it. I'm not saying to do any of these things. I'm saying that that's possibly one of the ways he could have done it. There are probably other ways. What are some useful examples of ways you could use that? Well, you could use it for something positive, for instance. I've done a video before on projecting thought forms, or done posts on it. Maybe I'll do another one later. But you could use it so that you are the one that's pure gold, and the other position that they're considering, or the other person they're considering, the other product they're considering is dog crap or whatever, or cow manure. Okay, so there are different ways you can use the principles behind it. Okay, the last one that I'm going to use is from 1 Kings 13, and this was the prophet went to a temple and prophesied against the temple and against the altar, and the king stretched out his arm and said, "Grab him." This was an example of the prophet saying something that wasn't politically correct, and the king got pissed off and said, "Seize him." And as soon as he stretched out his arm seized up. He wasn't able to move his arm. His arm froze. Okay, now some of you might understand that as arm levitation, psychic phenomena, hypnotic phenomena. We don't know whether or not it was hypnosis or not, but his arm wouldn't work. And the king cried out and said, "Pray to God, pray to God, pray for me." And so the prophet went ahead and prayed to God, and the king was able to use his arm again. And then the king said, "You're a good man, you know, come back and eat with me, have dinner, let's talk, I'll give you anything you want." And the prophet said, "No, I was told by God not to eat or drink until I got back home, and I got." So the next example here, this is another example of knowing what you should do or shouldn't do and not letting anybody else talk you out of it. Okay? It's good to keep things to yourself. Let me give you a personal example that's a little less dramatic, but over the last few years since I moved and I got another job, which, you know, I've left, but I got really pissed off at that job, and the more I got angry, at the stress of the job, the fatter I got, and I couldn't do anything about it. And so I've lost over 30 pounds, right? And my friend John LaTourette, gave me some things to help me with that. And so I've been losing weight regularly, okay, and I've lost over 30 pounds. And one of the things I found out that I already knew, but I've kind of found out again, is to keep my mouth shut. People say, "Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing?" And as soon as I tell them, "Oh, no, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to do blah, 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 blah." Okay, well, I've lost 30 pounds. How many did you lose? None. Okay. But people will try to talk you out of it. They'll even quote so-called good nutrition or whatever. Okay, I guarantee you I'm getting good nutrition. I'm making sure of that. People will try to talk you out of it. They'll try to shame you. They'll try to say, "Oh, that's not good. You know, you shouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah." Okay. Keep what you know to yourself. The only reason I share these videos is because I got people I care about that I teach. Okay. You want to keep what you know to yourself. Conceal your treasure. And also, once you know what you're supposed to do or not to do, only talk to people about it who have a reason to know. In other words, if you're going to do a project and that project includes another person, let them know as much as they need to know for that part that they're working with you on. Don't go blabbing to your friends or your coworkers or other people. Don't go talking about your skills or your abilities. What happened here with this prophet is another one came along and heard about it and said, oh, I'll show him. So he lied to him and said, the angel came to me and said, you're supposed to come home and eat with me. What cost the prophet his life. Okay, now most of the things we do, it's not that dramatic, but think about it for a moment. Have you ever had the life sucked out of you by a friend or a relative, a loved one, who you told what you were going to do, and then they tried to talk you out of it? Oh, that's a bad idea. Something that you knew in your heart. We're not talking about like jumping off of a tall building or a bridge without a parachute or anything like that. We're talking about things that you know are right for you, or that you should or shouldn't do, and you went and talked to your friends and they're like, no, that'll never work. You know, I remember when I was writing a book, I had a lot of people that were making fun of, oh, how's that book coming along? Yeah, you're going to quit your job. You're going to write a book and quit your job. Yeah, right. I should have kept my mouth shut. I should have kept it to myself. Okay, so here are 7 examples from the Bible of psychic abilities, psychic knowing, psychic intuition, psychic skills, and also some ways that you can apply them. I'm not saying to go out and do the bear thing, but there are other ways that you can apply that same type of knowledge. Does that make sense? So if you've enjoyed this video, do me a favor, click the thumbs up and then click the share button so your friends can enjoy it also. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and then click that notification bell, and that'll make sure that you get an email notification, and I believe they also notify you through YouTube whenever I upload another video so that you don't miss out. Thanks so much. And if you're watching me on someone else's website and this is an embedded video and you're not on YouTube, my channel is youtube.com/JimK1970. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.